Guys, hope you're good. Welcome back to the channel. It is me, Chris Bradley, owner of the MRR agency and fitsads.ai. And today's an exciting one because I want to take you through a framework that I've learned. It's kind of a framework, to be honest with you, that's got like 20 years of experience because I learned a version of this from an old mentor, Taki. Shout out to Taki. And I tweaked it to suit the people that I've been serving for the last couple of years. So it's the reason I say it's got 20 years is like if Taki made it, he's got all that experience and then he's filtered it down into a framework. He taught me it and then tweaked it. So it's pretty tried and tested. And this is the thing about business strategies, they come and go. But honestly, the best ones stand the test of time. And I think these are deep rooted in human psychology, buying psychology. So they're not going to go anywhere. So if you're sitting on YouTube looking at the best way to grow your business, there's a lot of new fancy tactics that come about, mass sending using AI, cold emails, Loom videos, a whole host of strategies that come and go. And I've tried them all because I'm happy to try them and test them. And if they work, I'll teach my clients them. And if I make a bit of money along the way doing them, happy days. I just love marketing. So I love finding out ways that we can, make money through marketing. But fundamentally, it comes back to like three things. And I've already wrote them out here. So we have attracting clients. We have converting clients. Like, how do we convert them once we've attracted them into our business and they've raised their hand and been like, yeah, I want to find out how this works. You convert them. And then you deliver. Now, the reason that we are so big on MRR is like the part that's neglected is delivery. Delivery has been hugely neglected, especially in the fitness industry with coaches and stuff. Like, I want you to think about, sales experts that's out there. So conversion. Like, if you think about Grant Cardone, Jeremy Milner, all these people, they're all sales experts, but no one's really like a recurring revenue expert, apart from me, or a delivery expert. Like, we kind of deliver our service, and then there's such a nuance to delivery because it's what you prefer. Whereas selling's kind of got, yeah, you can sell your own way, but fundamentally, when it goes down to the most successful salespeople, they've all got repeatable things that they do in order for people to buy. And then attracting clients. This is the very, very noisy, distracting part of running a business, attracting, how you attract them, all these fancy, flashy things. And it's funny because you see businesses at $1 million a month who don't do anywhere near the amount of stuff, but they're making $1 million a month. And then you see businesses who are doing hundreds of stuff, but making hundreds of money, but you just can't quite figure out what it is that they do that makes them money. So anyway, I say all of that to try and give you some context around business strategies. There's a lot that you could do. And honestly, I've been there where I've saw a strategy, learned it, and spent a lot of money to learn it. And then I spent 6 months implementing it and it's just not worked out. So I want to, whenever I'm feeling a bit like I need more strategies, I just come back to this because this is what I teach my clients and this is what I learned. So it's like, do these things. And another caveat to all of this, right? I'm going to say it all, but one thing you have to do or that will fail is actually track the data of how it works and don't expect a miracle overnight. Okay, so let's break it down here. The first thing I want to talk about attracting clients nowadays is short form. Now, you rewind the clock back maybe 6 years or so, short form might not even been on this list, but now it's a huge, huge component of attracting people. The algorithm can quite literally put it out to hundreds of thousands and millions if you get a post to go viral. Now, we're not aiming for that, but at the end of the day, short form content is a really good way for you to get your message out there. Now, as I go through all of this, I want you to in your head go, yep, I do that, or I want you to be like, nope, I've not even tried that yet. Because there is so many coaches I know who do short form content and then they don't do all the rest of it and they wonder why the hell they're not making money. And they put so much trust into short form content. And it's like, I don't know why there's so much loyalty towards it, but it is a tactic and it is a strategy for awareness, okay? Next is a micro magnet. Now, this is something I learned from Taki, which is, a micro version of a lead magnet, because these days people are very averse to like big, long things because of the dopamine world we're in, and they refuse to just look at stuff. So I'll give you an example of this. When I first ever discovered lead magnets and things, I discovered the ultimate healthy eating guide. So you'd put together even like eating out guides. So I'd get Nando's, Pret, all of these food places. I'd go to their menus. This is before they were readily available. I'd take all of the stuff, put it in a PDF so that, hey, are you got Nando's? Look at my PDF and you'll be able to tell you what to eat, how to eat. Again, this is before like loads of calories and stuff was available on menus. So it's really, really useful. But nowadays it's like all a big massive PDF to go through. No thanks. So this is where a micro magnet comes in, where you just give them a little bit of a taste, like a little appetizer. So you might say something like, let's say for example, it's you help people change their aesthetics. So building muscle, abs, shoulders, all that good stuff. You just pick one muscle group and it's like the 6 exercises that help me you know, build a bigger back. Do these 6 exercises this week to build a bigger back. You know, just a little appetizer instead of here's a big full body workout, okay? Again, I'm just giving you off the cuff, but the micromagnet always works. It has to be a little bit of an appetizer. Another part of it has to be really, really painful for them. It has to be something that is just like, I need that thing. So for me, with online businesses and stuff, a micromagnet might be something like, do these 3 things to get an instant return on ad spend. And I'll say, go in and change this, turn off this AI setting, go into Ads Manager and press this button, run your ad like this instead of that. Boom, yeah, I can do that in 5 minutes, for example, right? Cool. The next one here is a little bit specific to the businesses that I help, but I honestly think you should open your eyes if you're not doing things seasonally, because this will be powerful. Seasonal launch operating system. Now, this is a strategy that we use. We created it, but inside our, for a lot of our clients, it's the fitness industry, so there's a lot of seasonal peaks, and then there's seasonal troughs. For what goes up must come down, and we need to harness that. Like, you could sit here and say, oh, you know, I'm on holiday that month, or I'm doing this, but any business, any proper business, they look at their calendar year, they look at their quarters, and they look at historically when they've done well, and they can either go, yep, that's going to be good, or they can look at when they've done well, the peaks, and double down on it. Then they can look at the troughs, and honestly, if they can try and bring them up a bit on an average, happy days, you're going to grow your business. Or you maybe time that with holidays and stuff like that. But ultimately, what you're looking at is planning ahead and peaking the peaks and peaking up the troughs of the time. And you do that through a seasonal launch. You look at the times where your market is buying the most, and you put your marketing budget, you put your time, your effort, your energy, your team towards that seasonal launch. And you might think you do that when you're like, oh yeah, but I push, you know, I always launch an offer for January Kickstart, or I launch an offer for people to get ready for the summer. It's like, yeah, but did you look at last year's numbers? What worked? What was the email click through? How much money did you make from email? What short form content did you post at that time? Did you really send any micromagnets at this point? So you can see how this all starts to fit together and start to get juicy, okay? So that's the seasonal launch OS. Let me just put my lids here. And the last piece of the attract is really simple, meta ads. You know, we call that disruptive ad system, which I've already shared on this channel. But running meta ads, we prefer that over Google. It's not something we've ventured into, but meta ads, like if you've got to your point in your business where you're like, do you know what, I'm very happy with how this year ended, like total revenue, but you only done this and maybe the odd version of this, but it was sporadic because you needed some clients. You never really took advantage of the seasons, and you never launched ads. Can you imagine if you start to piece all this together? It gets pretty exciting. So meta ads, really simple as it sounds. You run ads on Facebook and Instagram to push more audience, to attract more clients, and then you can convert. So I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm just giving you the high level overview of it. So now we come into the convert section, and we look at like certain ways that you can convert. So you can do an offer doc, which is very common these days. I wouldn't recommend trying to sell too much if you're a fitness coach, trying to sell like too many fitness offers through offer docs. I don't think it works that well. We've tested it a lot, but an offer doc, an offer presentation, a proposal could be something like that. And then the other way of doing it is like, I'm going to put this down here because I'm going to put a shape in here, is an appointment engine, which is just a fancy way of saying, you know, you have an inquiry form, they book a call, and then you have a call with them. But in between that, there's an engine working. So there's, you know, reminders, there's social proof in between that time, there's handling objections, the whole engine to make sure that person converts. And when they go on the call, they're ready and they fully understand your business. So that's the engine behind it. It's not just link in your bio, take the call, right? There's a whole host of stuff that happens, and that's your appointment engine. So let me just draw a shape here, and I'll draw it in blue. And it is a big circle. And in this big circle, I'm going to go green here, we have what I call the personal brand cycle. So this is really your personal brand, your personality, what you're pushing, and your lifestyle, what you believe in, what you don't believe in, all your kind of values put out there to the world in order for you to attract people, but also deter people who aren't a fit and don't agree and don't align with you. That's it, right? But in order for your personal brand to work, like this is where a lot of people go wrong nowadays. They push their personal brand thinking that's the business answer, and it's not. Like, you can't just tell people that you don't like stuff and make a lot of money. You can't just do that. And there's a lot of people now selling you personal brand courses and stuff, and it's ridiculous, because if it was that easy, we'd all be rich just by telling people how we are, right? It does not just work like that. However, it is a massive component to make everything else work, right? You ever looked at a business or spoke to a business owner and they don't do half of this stuff, and yet they've just got loads of clients? It's usually because they've nailed down on this, but it can only last so long, because if you've done well with your personal brand at an early stage, the chances are you're just playing a popularity game and people just like you. If you want to take your business to like multiple six figures, you need to be way more than just likable. Like, it's just not going to work. You get the odd outlier who, you know, is maybe really good looking or really good magnetic personality, or they're in great shape. That only lasts so long. Trust me, I have seen the ones who are in great shape now just scraping the barrel or charging cheap amounts of money because the algorithm moved the goalpost and they're no longer popular. So the personal brand cycle, but there's a few key components to that. So let's say someone is magnetic towards you, you still have to make sure you have business strategies and frameworks in place. So we do something called the chat to call system, where whenever you're chatting to them, maybe through your personal brand, maybe through short form content, maybe through the magnet, the seasonal launch, meta ads, whatever it is, it leads into this. And it's the chat to call system. This is our system for when you're chatting to people, you take them onto a call. And it's a smooth, non-sleazy just way of, you know, listening to the prospect, understanding what they need. And, you know, we have a full process on it. It's really, really solid. We just updated it as well. The next part is email. So like, you know, if you're sending emails out off the back of all of this, let's say you get people on your email list from the micromagnet, great. They now go into your emails and whatever you do weekly and fortnightly for emails. Let's say it's a seasonal launch, so you're launching your program, you're getting people on your emails, then you retarget them through emails, you're nurturing them through there. Same with meta ads, so email's the next part. Next is just a landing page, which is just a very short version of our website. So let's say you have a landing page and you have a video sales letter on it, but it's a video you talking through your full program. If you go to my Instagram, you will see my version of that. And it's just a landing page for people to learn more about you and build trust. Because when short form doesn't do it, that will. When micromagnet's just a little taster, that will tell you more. Seasonal launch, yeah, I'm interested, but I need a bit more convincing. Go and watch the video where I break everything down, I tell you my story, and so on. You see how it all connects, right? And then next we have long form, which is what you're watching right now. This is a long form piece of content. So can you see now we have a lot of variety in place here? And ultimately what happens is when we do all of this stuff, we're trying to convert people. And this is where we come back to this world here of the offer doc or the appointment engine, or some sort of document or mechanism where you don't have a phone call basically, or a Zoom call. Okay, now we move into the next stage, which is how you actually deliver on the service. Now, I'm not going to get into like deliverables. I'm going to talk about like what you sell them. So let's say you have this conversation via a doc or a sales call, and you're getting to the point now, it's like, right, okay, how does it work? Like, what's the process? And it's, you know, if we talk about just like the logistics of the finances with it, it's either for us in our world, it's MRR subscriptions, we call it. So MRR subs. Or it's a high ticket offer that you sell. I'm not going to get into the rights or wrongs of each of them. Personally, we've got an 80-20 pay in full and MRR model that we love using. So MRR subscriptions, and I want to put another shape in here that's a bit of a diamond, like that. It's not really a diamond, but you get the picture. And in here is where we have, you've heard it all before, an irresistible offer, okay? So let me just sort of tidy this up a little bit so you can get the full picture. I'm going to just do a little line here and a little line here. Yeah, that'll do. I don't want to make it any more messier for you to see. So now we can look at it here. Let's say we have a conversation in the doc, whether you send them it on Instagram or whatever, or you have a sales call. They have to see your offer. Your offer then leads to like how you deliver the service. So now we've got a subscription offer where people join us and they pay a subscription for us to run their ads or build their seasonal launches for them and implement this full flywheel. So let's take a second to look at it. It's either that or it's high ticket. Either way, you sell it up front and you for 6 months, whatever it is you do. So this is it. This is the flywheel. And so when I look at the business and maybe we're struggling to get more leads, maybe the leads have dried up, I need to come in and just look and go, right, how is the short form content doing? Like, let's look at, if this all has a 30-day review, so let's say I get to the first of the month and I look at the previous month, how did short form do? Like, what was the reach on the dashboard? Is it down? Is it up? How many followers did I get? Because if I didn't get enough followers, then it means we probably need to check my meta ads, because we need to check the follower ad. Why is that performing? Why is that down now? Do we need new creative for that? Is it hit creative fatigue? And can you see here, just by looking at having the framework that you don't keep changing all the time, and then reviewing the data, and then you now have stuff to improve on. And then if you've got a team, you then just say like, you need to go and work on that. Maybe like for our clients, they'll look and go, Chris, the follower ad's dried up. Like, is there any way I can get a new script or film it again? And then we'll provide that. So you can see how this is a non-emotional way of looking at the strategies that you do. And if I was to run through this stuff, like they're not going anywhere. It's not just one hit offers. Now, don't get me wrong, over time, the market sophistication level changes and stuff, and you need to kind of tweak it. So really, if you look at last couple of years, sales calls have been the only way. Before that, it was just, you could just sell people over message. Like they were just ready to buy. And then it got harder. Sophistication levels got a lot higher. And then you had to do sales calls. And now we're starting to see a big shift in the B2B space anyway, where you could sort of do an offer doc. Fitness is a little bit different, but maybe you've got some joy with that. So again, let's just go through the stages here. Maybe you're like, where's your biggest problem right now? Is it like, are you actually good at sales calls? Are you actually good at converting people? Like, is it working? Cool. Maybe it's here. This is the one that most people feel like it is. It's attracting people. So how's your short form content doing? Review it. Maybe some people look at it and they honestly just go like that. Well, I only posted 8 times last month. And I'm not kidding you when I say this. When you go to like a business coach or whatever, they'll just look at this rationally and you'll find out that you're just not posting short form content. You know that? Maybe you're posting short form content, you're doing your micromagnets, you're launching, stuff at the right times. Every quarter you're launching a big front cover offer, putting a lot of effort in it. Then we come in here and no one's actually getting to the sales call or the offer doc to see it. So then probably it's your chat to call system. Maybe the personal brand, you're not pushing that enough, your authentic self, so there's not enough trust in there. Maybe you're not nurturing people with email, so it's like, yeah, I saw your ad, but then I never heard from you, and now you're trying to chat to me and sell to me, so it's like, there's a bit between. Maybe you look at this, right, and this gets 500 people viewing your landing page a month. And so you look at the stats at the 30-day mark and you see that 500 people viewed your landing page, but none of them booked a call or filled in the form. That's pretty staggering. So we need to change the headline on the landing page. Maybe we need to make a new video. We need to figure out why people are getting to this landing page and not taking action, because that's a lot of people. Can you see how we start to figure it out? You look at your long form content and appreciate that that's like a long form game. Maybe I look at my YouTubes, for example, and I go, why are we not getting enough views? Do I need to change the headlines? Do I need to revisit my avatar? Maybe I need to make sure that I'm emailing out my list that these YouTube videos are live to bump up the view rate. Maybe I'm getting people in DMs, but they're just not booking a call. I've got loads of conversations happening, but we're dancing around the point. Then you need to review your system. Maybe all that's working, right? And when we get to it and we're not closing people, it's your offer. Your offer doesn't match up to everything you're saying here. So hopefully that was useful. This is the framework that we use with our clients to diagnose and to install. So sometimes a client comes to us and they're not doing this, or they're not doing it very well. We just review it, tweak it, give it advice, and then we're off to the races. And this is where we can start really, really scaling your business. So I'd love to know in the comments below, which of these are you installed? What have you learned from this video? What do you need to review? Are you attracting people but not converting them? Or are you struggling to get them in when you have attracted them and you're on the conversion part and they're not saying yes to your offer? We'd love to know. As always, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe if you're still here watching. Proud of you because this is a long video.